Hello there, welcome. I'm Balaji Vishwanathan and let's resume the journey through world history. About 100,000 years ago came a major cooling event that dramatically impacted the early humans. Rainfall pattern changed, landscape was altered, and there was a huge shortage of food. Pressurized by all the changes that was going around, the early humans began a massive journey. Initially, they started from East Africa, from where we evolved, and then took a number of routes. Due to the cooling down of the earth, the sea levels reduced because a lot of water began appearing as glaciers on land. The reduction of sea levels allowed a number of land bridges, and that connected the six continents together. So the humans began the journey from here, and then they taken one of the two possible routes into the Arabian Peninsula, one through Israel or directly crossing the Red Sea, and then from there they took one route into India. Another group took the route to China. A third group looked into Europe, and fourth into the North Asia. And from these places, they also continued to keep moving through the land bridges and possibly reached Australia and also to the Americas. Then, about 20,000 years ago, things started warming up once again and sea levels started increasing. As the sea levels started increasing, the land bridges that these people used started disappearing, and that locked people in places like Australia and the Americas. And for the next 15,000 odd years, they will be continuing a different journey disconnected from the rest of humanity. Here is a much detailed picture of how the human migration happened. You can see that things started from East Africa, moved into India, and then rest of Asia, and then moved into the Americas and on Australia. Besides drowning the land bridges, the change in climate about 12,000 years ago also enabled conditions that helped the beginning of agriculture. Humans living in parts of West Asia, East Asia, and South America started domesticating some types of wild grass and made food from seeds. The beginning of agriculture enabled what is now known as the civilization. The word civilization is a loaded word and often used to convey the idea that some people are superior than others. We will take the approach of connecting civilization to the idea of settling down and allowing activities besides searching for food. While our nomadic ancestors constantly moved in searching for food, the ones doing agriculture had the benefit of producing food near where they lived. A small field can produce as much food as acres of forest, and this allowed a massive population explosion. Since they were settling down, they were also building much larger homes, protecting them from the elements as well as from fellow humans. They also began storing food as the fields can only be harvested a few times a year. Storing food required a complex infrastructure as well as a sophisticated organization. Governments, writing systems, and religions are all attributed to this development, and we can still see the vestiges of agriculture in almost every festival we celebrate. River valleys are the best for agriculture, and it is in these river valleys in the subtropical regions that we find the earliest of civilizations. Why subtropics? It is because these river valleys neither had as much forest density and dangers as a tropical forest, nor the agriculture could be supported in really cold river valleys. So let us look at the places where civilization initially arose. To begin that, we should see what are the major river basins in the world. And these river basins are where the agriculture started. Now, among these 26, there are a bunch of river basins in the really cold and inhospitable regions in the north. And this is in these places, complex civilization were hard to come by in the earliest of the times. And then there are also a bunch of very dense rainforests that again where civilizations could not easily start. So the civilizations could really start in this very narrow band in the subtropical region, and it is in this small region where the earliest of civilization started. So here we see the Euphrates and Tigris rivers where the Sumerian civilization started, and then we have the Nile river here that began the Egyptian civilization. Then we have the Indus River, where it began the Indus River Valley civilization, and then we have the Yangtze River here that began the civilization of China. And then besides these, there are also two other independent places that are considered to be cradles of civilization. One is the Coatzacoalcos River basin here in Mexico, and there is another in the Norte Chico region in Peru. Both of these were significantly smaller than the four civilizations that were described earlier due to significant geographic challenges. Is the development of civilization a good thing or a bad thing? This is something that we don't know. It is probably a good thing that we evolved this way, because now we could really appreciate a bunch of other things besides looking for food. But in another way, we have also strained our environment significantly, and we have made things significantly harder for other living things. So keep this in mind when looking at the idea of civilization. It is neither a good thing or a bad thing, it's just a fact that happened.